Well, right at the start of this video, I'm going to go ahead and contradict the title. What causes depression? Sometimes nothing. Sometimes there's no discernible cause. There's no loss of a loved one that has precipitated it. There's no significant life change that you can identify. There's no biological trigger that you are aware of. You just feel depressed. And listen very carefully. That doesn't mean you're crazy. There's a wonderful prayer written by Douglas McKelvey entitled "A Liturgy for Those Who Weep Without Knowing Why." Listen to how he begins his prayer. There is so much lost in this world, O Lord, so much that seems dislocated, upended, desecrated, unhinged. Even in our own hearts we bear the mark of all that is broken. What is best in this world has been bashed and battered and trodden down. Is it any wonder we should weep sometimes without knowing why? It might be anything, and then again, it might be everything. My name's Joe, and I'm a licensed mental health counselor and also an ordained Christian minister. So my perspective on these topics is shaped by a worldview that says God cares about you and He desires greater freedom for you in your struggle with depression symptoms. Now, of course, when I say that sometimes there's no cause for your depressive symptoms, I don't mean that literally. Everything has a cause, but you may not be able to discern the cause. There is so much we still don't know about the brain. So sometimes the neurochemistry upstairs can get the best of us, and we can't exactly point out why. But sometimes there is a why. I'm not suggesting that this is a definitive list, but perhaps some of these causes ring true for you. Loss. Loss can be a cause for your depression symptoms. Loss, like sadness, it's inescapable in this life. To live life is to know loss. Some of you have experienced incredible loss. Loss of family, loss of friendships, loss of employment, loss of health, loss of status, loss of faith, loss of purpose. And loss leads, or it should lead, to grief. And grief, though deeply painful, is not forever. Not that the sense of loss kind of goes away fully, but the period of grieving, it transforms, or it should transform. Because sometimes, however, we get stuck. We get stuck in the grief. And that can be a catalyst for depression. You say, okay, well, how long am I supposed to grieve? Well, that varies person to person. That varies situation to situation. But two questions worth asking yourself if you've experienced loss. One, have I stuffed my grief? Two, have I let it take over my life? Because health is going to be somewhere between those two. If you feel stuck in your grief, ask for help. Regret. I was talking with a dear friend who struggled with depression in the years following his sister's suicide. He said the question that wouldn't allow him to escape and move on was the question, what if? What if I had? What if I hadn't? What if this? What if that? He said after a couple years of depression, fueled by this regret, he woke up one day and he realized that his regret was an attempt to feel in control again. Because regret it's often trying to play God. It's giving ourselves more power and control over the story than we actually possess. And it's easy to get stuck there. All right, trauma. Did you know that traumatic memories in your life literally get stored in a different place in your brain than non-traumatic memories? This is an oversimplification, but basically your brain goes, we're going to need to hang on to that one so something like this never happens again. Well, what's the problem with this? The problem is, what if what you're experiencing now isn't dangerous? It's just that your brainstem has decided it is, because it somehow reminds you of that unprocessed memory that's still stuck in the limbic system. All of this can build and contribute to depression symptoms. All right, ready for the curveball? Accomplishment. Accomplishing a goal can actually lead to depressive symptoms. You say, what? Let me explain. Of course we're disappointed when we don't get what we want. But did you know that one of the places symptoms of depression shows up is after people do get what they want? It seems counterintuitive, but we all live in a way that says, I would be happy if, and we fill in the blank. The problem arises if you're asking whatever you fill in that blank to truly fill in the blank space of your heart. If you're looking to something or someone to meet your ultimate needs for purpose, connection, joy, and love, you're going to be inevitably dissatisfied. John Calvin, one of the leaders of the Reformation, famously referred to the human heart as an idol factory, meaning we are constantly looking to things and people and experiences to be like a god to us. But people, things, and experiences kind of stink as gods. All right, one more, shame. What is shame? I think the simplest way to define shame is it's that inner voice that asks, what is wrong with me? See, guilt is about actions, but shame is about identity. Guilt is I did something wrong. Shame is I am something wrong. Now, shame is something that we all have to deal with. It doesn't mean that you're depressed, but it is something worth paying attention to. What do you do with your shame? How quick are you to turn it over to someone who cares about you? In my better moments, when I start hearing that inner voice of shame, I take it right to Jesus. I go, here you go, Jesus, here you go. I'm handing this over to you. I know that you don't want me to have this. I don't know where else to put it, so I'm giving it to you. Because not only does he take it if we hand it to him, but there's this amazing verse in the book of Zephaniah about how God sings over us. That's what the soul filled with shame needs in order to help prevent depression symptoms. The God who made you, who loves you, who forgave you, and who promises to make you new, that God sings his delight over your shame. In the next video, I'm going to lay out some thoughts on what we can do with our depression symptoms. I'll see you then.